But one thing I want to talk to you about, I remember or I don't know if it was actually on the podcast or just talking to you separately, but I told you I wanted to start a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And really my goal for the YouTube channel is just to kind of document hunts and just kind of have video of my dogs that I can put out there. And so the first video that I wanted to do was just kind of do like a highlight reel of Vango and all the little clips and videos that I've had of him over the years hunting. And I think right now that may be the best footage of a hunting Airedale I think that's out there right now. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but he's been on quite a few hunts over his last 5 years. And so I got that all thrown together and posted it up. And so I'll probably be posting a lot of hunts and stuff on there going forward. And actually, I had the best footage of Vango catching a pig, and I think had I still had that footage, I think it would be one of the coolest videos I think that you'd ever see of a dog catching a pig. If you want, I can tell the story because I ended up losing the footage.
Yeah, definitely tell it.
All right, so I'd gotten permission on this property to hunt pigs on, so it was pretty unique. It was farmland. It was about 45 minutes away from my house. So it's wheat and cotton farms, big area, but on the back end, which would be, I guess, the west end of the farm, it drops off into canyon country. So it's like ravines, washouts, cliffs. And so what was happening was these pigs were living in the canyons during the day. They're out sleeping or whatever. In the evenings, they're coming up onto the flatland and just tearing up the crops. And so I talked to the landowner, and he's like, yeah, he said, we've had people come out here try to shoot them and hunt them. He said, the problem is, he said, they come out of those canyons and they start eating. He said, since there's so much farmland east of it, they can see from far. So you have to kind of be set up with your thermals and everything, just kind of waiting for them. He said, but if you and your dogs can then get them, that would sure help me out a lot. I said, all right, we'll see what we can do. And that was the best hunting I've ever done. It was perfect because I had the stag Airedale team. If the pigs were out on the flats, the stag would go in there and catch them and hold them there for the Airedales to get there. Or even if they went into the canyon country, if they went into the washouts and cliffs and stuff, that the Airedales were right there on them. So it was really good. So on this day in particular, it was like 19 degrees. It was really cold, so I bundled up, took the dogs out. I had Vango. I had Ivo, the staghound. At the time, he was only about 9, 10 months old. And I had Annie, one of my female Airedales. I was just getting there, so I was driving on the far side of the farmland on a road that way, because there's a road that is in between the farm and the canyons. And so I just kind of drove that so I could see some sign of pigs and kind of turn the dogs loose. So on this day, it was cold, it was overcast, and it was in the evening time. It was maybe about 30 minutes until dark. So I'm driving, going around. Before I was even ready, I look out and I just see a group of pigs just kind of making their way out of the canyons, coming onto the farm, and they saw me right away. So a lot of them turned and went, and there was one pig that looked like a stinking grizzly bear. It was dark brown, had all the fur and just big head, big hump, everything. So, and it stood there watching us. So I jumped out of the truck, I let the dogs loose, and boom, they took off. So the 3 dogs went in there. So Ivo and Annie split from Vango. Ivo and Annie went and caught probably a little small 50-pound pig. Vango goes after the big grizzly bear looking hog. And so I'm running, I don't know what to do. I got a 22 on me, and I got my big pig sticking knife with me. So I see that Vango's caught the big pig. And so I go and take off after them, and it's rough country. I'm jumping over boulders trying to reach them before. And so I get there, and it was just the most beautiful sight you ever seen. It was Vango on this massive I don't want to be one of those people that adds 100 pounds to a pig that they see. This pig was 100% over 250 pounds. And for my area, where they're longer and leggy and taller, that's a big, heavy pig. and Vango's got it. He's got it by the neck, which usually you want your dog to have him by the ear, but he's got this pig by the neck, so he's getting drugged, and that pig is just tossing around like a rag, but he's just caught on there, never letting go. So in the heat of it, here's Vango caught on this huge giant pig, and the background is canyons, you know what I mean? And the sun's setting. It's just the most perfect, beautiful video you'd ever want. Uh-huh. So I on me at the time was my phone, so I just took out my phone and I recorded me about 30 seconds of Vango catching this pig, and it's just probably the best footage you could ever imagine. And but so it was also 19 degrees. My fingers, I could barely curl them to get the video to stop. So when that happens, I see that the pig gets loose from Vango. It's a lot bigger of a pig than what he can handle on his own, and they start going down into the ravine. And so at that point, I get scared. I toss my phone down. I toss my rifle down, and at that point, I'm just trying to get the pig caught to kind of like avoid Vango getting injured. So I go up and I drop my phone, drop all the gear that I had, and I go catch the pig by the back legs. And that pig kicks me like a donkey in my chest and just flattens me on my back. And when that happens, she gets loose from Vango. It ended up being a sow of all things. It was the biggest sow pig I've ever seen in my entire life. I was 100% sure it was a boar up until I got on close to it. And I saw that it was either a sow or a neutered pig somehow, but more than likely it was a sow. Huge, and they go down and they get lost down into the little fingers of that canyon. So I'm going for 30 minutes. So 30 minutes tracking these dogs. So I'll see where Vango has caught her, and they he's holding her as best as he can, and she just cuts loose from him again. And at this point, I'm thinking Vango must be exhausted. So I'm going down. I'm exhausted, just trying to keep up with him. So I'm down in the ravine. I look up on top, and up on the top, maybe about 300 yards ahead of me, I see Vango's got her caught again. And she's at this point, he's so exhausted, she's just beating him up. And same thing, I'm going up there, trying my best to reach him, whatever. At this point, I'm trying to just call him off. Because I'm like, it's not worth it. There's cliffs. It's dangerous. I'd rather this pig just get away than lose him. So finally, by the time I make it up to the top, Vango's just he's so exhausted. He's foaming at the mouth, and he's so dizzy. And all on his own, he was able to hold this pig. Pig ended up getting away, and the only reason it got away is because he was just exhausted. This was at this point, sun's already down. It's already dark, and it got pretty dangerous at that point because it was on steady ground, and I was able to finally call him off and finally listen to me. I guess exhaustion had him to the point where he just kind of snapped out of it and was able to listen to me call him off. But so we didn't end up getting that pig. But it was probably one of the most exhilarating, one of the best moments of my life, just kind of seeing him do his job. And even though we didn't get the pig in the end, he did everything in his power to get it stopped. It's just I wasn't able to get there in time, and I kicked myself because if I hadn't stopped and taken video, you know what I mean, I could have got the pig caught and could have avoided, what could have been a bad situation. Anyways, go back, find my phone and my gear. My phone was still recording. I never pressed end, so it was recording the whole time that I was chasing Vango down the ravine. Look, and my phone's dead. So I'm just praying. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I have this video. And get the phone charged up, look at it. The video didn't save. I guess the phone died while it was still recording, so that video is gone forever. So yeah, it was a bummer, but oh well. I still got the story, and I'm glad I'm able to tell it on here.
Yeah, that would have been awesome, but oh well. At least experiences are more important than anything else.
Mm-hmm. And that's been so, like, a lot of the spots now. I don't have that spot anymore. That was such a perfect spot for me and the dogs. That was the spot where I was able to get my staghounds on some pigs for the first time and kind of get them used to hunting. And it was such a good spot. It ended up getting ruined for me because there was maybe about 7 of us that had permission on that property. And one day, these guys had gone out on their four-wheelers, and they just made ruts, and and drove all through the fields while it was raining. So it just kind of ruined a big portion of it. And the farmer says, you know what, everybody's out of here. So I lost that spot, but ended up getting another good spot about 2 hours from me. And this spot has some of the nastiest pigs I've ever encountered. It's 2 hours east of me, and that's where I've been doing the bulk of my hunting. But, you know, really, most of the time I'm out hunting, it's just me on my own. You know, it's me and the dogs. And so it's really hard for me to get good video while I'm also, you know, trying to make sure we get the pigs caught and taken care of, minimize the risk of injury to the dogs. And there in that spot was the time that I really, you know, saw how good of a stag that I have. So Ivo, he's my big staghound. He's actually a 50-50 cross, half staghound and half racing greyhound. He's big, he's fast. I've clocked him at 40 miles an hour, which is crazy for a dog of his size. And because I'm understanding he's 31 inches at the shoulder and he's 90 pounds.
Wow.
So he's a big boned, tall, lean sight hound. And one of the spots that I went, it was the same thing. I had a GoPro and I was trying to get good footage. They caught this really big, nice looking spotted boar, and it was in the worst spot ever. It was really thick with reeds and brush and trees. And Ivo was the MVP on that hunt. He caught that pig, and that pig ended up turning on him, cutting the strap on his cup vest, and ended up cutting him. He got cut up pretty good on that one. But he saved me because it took me a while to get through all the brush and get in there. That pig. So when I got eyes on him, that pig had Ivo on his back, and he had a mouthful of his vest and was just kind of cutting him up. So I'm running, trying to get close to him. That pig turns around and just rushes me. And right at the last second, I was able to just kind of jump out of the way. So Ivo was just on his back, you know, doing everything he can to keep that pig held. He jumps up and catches that pig before the pig was able to get to me again. And I think he's probably one of the most game sight hounds you could ever. It doesn't get any better than that. I think the type of pig dog that he is, his level of pig dog, especially for being a stag hound, he's as good as they come. And he really has proved himself over that hunt was the first time he's really proved himself, and since then he's just been getting better. And so yeah, I've been doing some good coon hunts. I got injured last year. I tore my pec, had surgery. It was a 6-month recovery, so I wasn't able to do much hunting last year. But it gave me time to kind of review all the videos of the hunts that I've had in the past, and kind of gave me the idea to, you know what, just go ahead and make a YouTube channel and just start documenting all this stuff. That way, you know, who knows what happens? Nothing's certain in this life. And if I ever get to a point where I'm not able to go out hunting, I can at least, you know, go back and watch videos of me and the dogs from when I was able to, you know. So that's the main goal of that. That's what I'm kind of doing right now. I'm just kind of making sure I can get have all the right setup to where I can actually just go out and hunt and not have to worry about trying to catch things on video, because it puts me at risk, puts the dogs at risk, you know, sitting there with your phone out trying to catch a video. So that's number one, what I'm doing right now, to make sure I have everything kind of set up to where it's, you know, I get all the best footage, but it's still safe, you know. And so that's what I'll be doing. I'm looking at I'm switching jobs right now. I'm going into business for myself, and I'm hoping once I get you know, set up and working for myself, I'll have some more time and resources to be able to spend more time out with the dogs and hunting. Because like I said, over the last year with the injury and with the times that I've been able to take the dogs out, it hasn't been quite as much as I'd wanted, but still, you know, still been good. So I'm hoping in the future I can put together some really good videos of some hunts. People can go out and watch it. It's called Vango, a legendary hunting Airedale Terrier, and it's just it's just a montage of Vango. And really, my main goal with the video with the YouTube channel was just to get to show what really the potential of a true hunting Airedale. You know, I think they're one of the most versatile breeds, and they're one of the best breeds you could ever own. And I want to put out there and show people what these dogs are capable of. And so I got that first video put out there. The YouTube channel is TexDale Outdoors. And people can go right now and see Vango at work. And he's only young still. He's only 5 years old. He still has another, 3 years of hunting, of serious, pig hunting and coon hunting. So there'll definitely be a part 2 to that video. But yeah, mainly just show people what I'm all about, what my dogs are about, what a true hunting Airedale could do. Obviously, in this social media age, it's easy to get caught up on views and stuff like that. But really, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your dogs to just, if you're going to do something like that, just be honest, just show what you do. And just, do things, stay true to yourself and do things that, that you want to be put out there. It doesn't, even with this YouTube channel, you're never going to see me out there with a camera in my face. Welcome back, guys.
Yeah.
It's all about the dogs for me. I spend such a huge amount of my life. Really a big percentage of my life is out with the dogs, and nobody ever sees that. It's just me and the dogs, most of the time. So really, with this YouTube channel, it's almost like a video journal type. Like this is what I've done with the dogs in this point in my life, and if you want to take a look at it, take a look and see if you like it. Honestly, most of the moves, people think I'm crazy, but most of the major life moves I've done in my life has kind of been around the dogs. Like moving out here into the country is, that was 100% because of I wanted to give my dogs more space. I wanted to have more space to work with dogs. Going into business for myself, I could be comfortable and just, continue to work here in the car business and do my thing. But I want the freedom to be able to go out and plan, hunts with the dogs and do stuff like that. Everything I do has been kind of revolved around dogs. And honestly, what more of a fascinating animal is there than a dog? You know what I mean? Outside of people, dogs are the most versatile animals on this planet. You know what I mean? You can be involved in dogs in so many different ways. And so sometimes I feel guilty. I'm like, man, my life revolves around dogs too much. At the same time, I don't. It's like, what else would I be doing? Playing video games?
So how's your wife with this passion? Does she is she put up with it, or is she a part of it? And how do you manage, that part of your life with your dog?
I don't know what I would do without her. When it comes to especially raising litters and just with the whelping process and dogs, I go out during the winter and fall time. Summertime is so brutal right now. I don't hardly ever take the dogs out for it. And then at the same time too, I don't really go hunt. I don't hunt during the spring and summer, especially like coons. And like our fur bearers, because although you do want to kind of predator control and stuff like that, but at the same time, I'm not just a hunter. I'm not just out for my dogs to catch things. I do want to preserve our local populations and stuff. So during the springtime, you can't control it. With Airedales being silent out when you're coon hunting, a lot of times, more times than not, they catch the coons on the ground. Mm-hmm. And you can't control if your dog catches a pregnant coon or a coon that's got pups back at the den, mm-hmm. or a fox that's pregnant or a fox that's got pups back at the den. You never want that to happen. I hate that. A few years ago, dogs caught a pregnant coon, and it made me want to quit hunting altogether. I felt so guilty. So mm-hmm. during the spring summer months, I do not hunt. So during that time, we're out exercising the dogs separately, roading them, loving on them. They're inside and stuff. And I couldn't do this without my wife. She's as much of a she's always, before we got married, she was a dog lady, and that was one of the things I loved about her. But since we've been married, she knows everything. She knows. She's asking all these questions. She follows everybody. She's actually listened to most of your podcast episodes. Like she's so involved with the dogs. It's been great. And really, a lot of people in my family are into dogs. And I've got younger cousins and an uncle that have a staghound from me, and they're looking at getting another one. And they're out hunting with their dog all the time. My dad, my dad's got staghounds now. He's got one. He'll probably get another, and he's out hunting with training his pup up. And it's turned into kind of a family thing. Like we're all kind of getting into our dogs. I got another cousin who's getting into pig hunting. He had a dogo that just passed away, unfortunately, but he's getting another one, and he's going to be getting into the pig hunting and stuff with dogos. And I'm excited to hunt alongside him with that. And then even just like we're a dog family. Everybody, every single one of us got our dogs. My little sister and her husband, which he's one of my best friends. He's got a German Shorthair Pointer that he's training to hunt and takes outdoors and stuff. She just got a toy poodle, and we're even excited about that.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's been dogs is really one of the things that we can all come together for. Yeah, so they're very, very protective mothers. And Airedale, in a lot of ways, they are a terrier, but almost not really. You know what I mean? Like they've got terrier in their heritage, but they're almost a dog separate on their own. But that terrier attitude sticks with them. So they are fiercely protective mothers. Even whenever I got Zoe, her first litter I had with her, it was hard. She wouldn't even really let me get close to her pups. I had to really win her trust and win her over. They're fiercely protective mothers. Same thing with my wife. Like all our females, like Junie and Annie. Junie, I raised her from a puppy, and Annie, I got her as an adult already. But you have to win their trust. They're an intelligent, very smart breed, and they're just not going to let you just come do whatever you want with them. But fiercely protective, excellent mothers, big litters. All my dogs, all these Airedales have big litters. So really good moms, really protective, and tough as they come. They'll let their pups. A lot of breeds, after the pups start getting some teeth, they wean them pretty quick. And Airedales, what I've seen, they're letting their pups nurse. I have to wean the pups. You know what I mean? They're letting them nurse even when they're 6 to 8 weeks old still. And it's been great. Compared to the few stag litters I've had, I had a female staghound that I got out of Kansas, and she's a really good dog. Whatever, I don't have her anymore. I went ahead and I sent her to another friend of mine. But when she had a litter, after the pups started getting some teeth, she was completely done with them. Didn't even want to look at her pups. And they're, just great moms and just really smart, thoughtful dogs. And, really, as much as I use them for hunting, that's what we do most of the time. But any Airedale owner is going to tell you about the off switch. Around the house, they're just the most excellent family dogs. Good with kids, good with livestock, just good all around dogs. And they're a breed that I'll be involved with probably for the rest of my life. So I would say, if you're getting a working line Airedale, you've got to give them something to do. You owe it, and this goes for all dog owners. Period. When you have a dog, they may be a part of your life, but if you're their whole life, you know what I mean? Everything that they do depends on you. So someone who's wanting to get an Airedale, especially a working line Airedale, give them something to do, even if it's just going out and jogging with them every day. Need to have some kind of outlet, because then, with a working breed, a high drive, independent, intelligent breed like this, they'll entertain themselves. So that's when you start running into barking and digging and chewing and aggression. You're not taking your dogs out. You're not giving them some outlet to get their energy out or give them some kind of job to do. Problems will start to develop. You know what I mean? They're not the dog that you can have just sectioned off in your kitchen to lay around all day. I would say either learn how to groom them or get ready to spend $70 at the groomer every other month, because Airedales, they don't shed, but their hair just will continue to grow. So I groom all my dogs. Whether I do a good job, whether my dogs are the prettiest looking after I get done with them or not, that's up to you. But keeping their coats trimmed up and groomed, it's really important. If you keep them groomed and brushed out, or not really brushed out, but you keep their hair stripped and shaved down, you'll avoid matting problems. You'll avoid hot spots, things like that. So buy yourself a pair of clippers and get ready to do some grooming, or get ready to pay the groomer to do some grooming every other month. Let's see what else. But yeah, honestly, that's the main things. And another thing I want to stress too is feed your dogs once a day. to everybody who's got dogs out there, these dogs, when they start getting older, and because understand, dogs don't have a, they're meant to have that feast and famine type of diet, right? Because dogs don't sweat, so they don't have a natural way to get rid of extra toxins or extra salt or extra nutrients in their diet that they don't need, extra calcium. It starts to harm them over time. So feed your dog once a day. If they're an active dog, if they're an active hunting dog, especially during the winter, okay, yeah, feed them twice a day. Feed them raw meat. And you will see a whole lot less problems that way. And when you've got a dog that's just on a constant feeder, and especially if you're not taking them out, you're going to start looking, chances of them getting cancer, heart disease, skin problems, stuff like that, autoimmune diseases goes way, way up.
Yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
That's what I would say. Exercise your dogs, keep them nice and groomed. Exercise your Airedale, keep them nice and groomed, and make sure you pay attention to their diet, and you'll have a really good dog for 10, 12 years. Even longer if you do things right. Yeah, so I've had some knockdown dragouts in my yard, especially with the females. The female Airedales, when they're fine with each other most of the time, but when they do decide to, when they decide that they're going to get after it, they really, really fight. And I've noticed that's one of the things I learned too. When a female's pregnant, she's not taking nothing from nobody. So I've had all the fights that I've had pretty much have been pregnant female versus someone else who's in their way, pretty much. You know what I mean? And Airedales are they're strong, powerful breed. They got the biggest teeth the biggest teeth I've ever seen on any other type of dog. They can hurt each other really quick. Outside of times like that, they're good to go. I've had Bango, my big Airedale, and my big staghound Ivo. They've tied up a few times, and it's always been just when one of the females isn't here, wherever. Because my dogs, I need them to work together, as a pack, when we're out hunting. And so I do not stand for dog fights. I nip that in the butt as soon and as early as I can. So all my dogs, for the most part, an Airedale is they're not gonna start nothing. They're not really gonna hurt any. They're not gonna start fights at all, or not mine anyway. Especially if they're properly exercised. They've got a good diet. They're feeling good. If they're nice and healthy and happy, they're not going to fight. So, Airedales could run as fast as a stag. I don't think you would have any use for them. You'd have Airedales do whatever. The Staghounds are they're the athletes of the dog world. The Staghounds are. They can do some of the athletic things I've seen them do is it's mind-blowing. So I've had about four different full-grown stags now up to this point, and all of them can run, all of them can jump, and for the most part, their stamina is really, really good. And that's the thing, that's the main difference. A lot of times, out here in the flatlands, the dogs will get on something, especially coyotes. If we're doing, coyote control or whatever on different properties, an Airedale's never going to catch a coyote, but a stag will. And as far as temperament stuff, they're both breeds are easy keepers. That's why I have them. They most of the day they're just kind of laying around and just wait for you to take them out. They're not loud. They're not hard to keep around the house. They're not trying to escape every chance they get. They're just really good, smart dogs. And as far as aggression goes, especially staghounds, the guys that are still breeding and working with stags, they run them all in packs. So you cannot have a aggressive dog in those situations where they're in the dog box with each other for extended periods of time. Right. You can't have aggression. So that's something I deal with very, very little. As far as temperament goes, Airedale's definitely a lot more intelligent, a lot more thoughtful. They have feelings, it seems like, and stags are just kind of there. They're just there, and they're always in a good mood, so,
And for those people who don't know what a staghound is, can you give an overview of them?
Yes. So basically, a staghound, they're not. It's not a recognized breed by any kennel club, and you can get a staghound from a guy in South Dakota, and then you go down and get a staghound from a guy in North Texas, and if you were to do a DNA test on both of them, they're both staghounds in quotation, but they'll have a completely different background.
Mm-hmm.
So staghound is a breed that exists because they're working dogs. You'll never see them in any kind of kennel club. You never see them in dog shows. They're a working sighthound, specific to, they're called staghounds. I don't know I think the term originated from, they used to, hunt deer and stags with them. But here in the United States, when you hear the term staghound, usually they're referring to a coyote dog, a sighthound that's used to hunt coyotes with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you'll have staghounds that have heavy deerhound and wolfhound blood. You'll have staghounds that have Saluki and a high percentage of Saluki and greyhound in them. You'll have some that have Borzoi in them. You'll have some that have you name it. Just they're just basically a mixed up working line sighthound.
Mm-hmm.
And originally, the staghound was a cross between a deerhound and a greyhound. And greyhounds they have all the drive, they have the speed, they have everything, but the pads on their feet, they're not a really hardy dog. Then you take a deerhound, which is also a sighthound. They have a thicker coat, thicker skin, thicker pads, heavier bones. Not quite as fast, but way more durable. So they did the cross between those two and kind of got the best out of both breeds. So those are the original staghounds. But now, anytime you see a staghound, it's going to be, they're basically a mixed up sighthound breed with a purpose. They're all bred. If a staghound does not get bred to another staghound unless they're both, up to par when it comes to hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, since they're working dogs, you have almost zero health problems with them. Those dogs will go, they're healthy, and they have, very rarely do they get types of cancer or any other kind of problems like that. They're really healthy breed, and a lot of people don't know this, and it's not something that I'm ever going to do or ever. I'm not in that type of thing, but when it comes to medical stuff, a sighthound is the only breed of dog that you can draw blood from and give to another dog via blood transfusion.
Mm-hmm.
Because of they're just a healthy breed. Anything that you breed a sighthound to the pups out of that are going to be healthy. And so I did kind of want to talk to you about the Airedale Lurcher, the staghound Airedale Lurcher.
Yeah, definitely. So
even though that happened on accident, it was something that I was wanting to do anyway. And thus far, the one that I kept, Croc, and then I sold two of them to a guy in California that uses them for pig hunting. So far, they've been excellent. They've kind of taken the best things from both. So Croc, the stag lurcher that I have here, he's got a good nose. He's able to follow especially a fresh trail, a track, fresh. I haven't really used him on pigs too much. He was kind of born in a time in my life where I was a little bit busier and I wasn't able to do too much pig hunting, especially since I lost the other spot that I was telling you about. But for coon hunting, he's amazing. He goes out, he knows exactly what to do. He's nose to the ground. He's fast enough to catch anything, and he's the grit from both sides, the Airedale grit and the staghound grit. He's got it both. And his first big, I was doing some what do you call it? Nuisance animal control on a park that's kind of close by an amusement park, so they get they're overrun with coons and stuff, and tearing up the trashes and stuff like that. And it's also across the street from a golf course. So that area is overrun with feral cats, coons, possums. I leave possums alone. My dogs are all trained off of possums and skunks. There's no need to. The minimal damage that possums do, it's nothing. I just let them be. But coons, if they get into a trash, especially a trash that, they're going to litter everywhere. They're going to tear things up. They'll rip out wiring and electrical outlets and stuff like that to try to make their nest and stuff. Coons are one of the most destructive animals ever, and I love them. They're one of my favorite animals. But sometimes you got to get them out of there, you know. And so with Croc, that's been his main thing. I've trained him to hunt coons, and he's done great. So this past winter, or actually I think it was early March, it was still pretty cold out though. We came across this coon that was tearing up a trash can. So I let Croc out completely on his own, and you know, this is your time to prove yourself. You go out there and dispatch this coon. You know what I mean? You get to eat it all on your own. And so he goes out, and I kind of let him just trail it, even though I had eyes on the coon, but I just kind of let him figure out where it was, trail on his own. He caught that coon, and they fell over the edge into they fell into some water, and it was the biggest boar coon I've caught in the last few years, and he handled it no problem. He pulled it out of the water and got a throat hold on it and broke his neck. I heard the bones crunch and everything. He did everything as clean as you would ever want. You know what I mean? Because especially when you're training dogs to hunt animals.
Hey, this is Sean from the Bulldog Social Club podcast. I have a quick favor for you. If you live in the Kansas City, Missouri area and are looking to buy or sell a house, please contact my wife. She's a hardworking real estate agent looking for some business, and she'll make sure that you meet all your needs. If you're actually looking to move to the Kansas City, Missouri area, again, contact my wife, and she'll work extra hard for you, and she'll get you into that house that you're looking for in the good area, and you'll be doing me a favor by getting her some business. Thank you very much. Bye.